Imagine this, a woman in ancient Egypt, her skin kissed with golden light, massaging fragrant moringa oil into her arms before stepping into the shade of her limestone villa. Or a grandmother in South India, warming sesame oil on a winter morning, rubbing it gently into her granddaughter's hair, skin, and feet before the daily bath. Or a Greek athlete, his body glistening with olive oil before entering the bathhouse, ready to scrape away dust, sweat, and the harshness of the sun. Long before laboratories invented creams, lotions, and moisturizers in shiny jars, humans had already discovered something timeless, simple, and profoundly effective: oil. Every culture, whether Egyptian, Greek, Indian, Chinese, Japanese, African, or Native American, turned to oils not just for beauty, but for healing, ritual, and protection. Oil was medicine. Oil was nourishment. Oil was sacred. But why? Why was oil universally revered before the modern invention of creams and moisturizers? What did our ancestors know that we have almost forgotten? And why, even today, when shelves overflow with serums and creams, people are returning to oils as if listening to an ancient call? That is the journey we will take today, across civilizations, across centuries, across rituals, to understand why every culture used oil before cream. Part 1. Oil as the first skincare. Before we dive into history, let's pause on something simple. What is skin's most natural need? Protection? Hydration? Balance? And what is oil? Nature's direct answer. Unlike creams, which need emulsifiers, preservatives, and multiple ingredients to hold water and oil together, oils are whole, pure, singular, a seed pressed, a fruit extracted, a resin distilled. In their simplicity, oils mimic our own skin's sebum, the natural oil our body produces to protect itself. This is why, no matter where you travel in history, cultures trusted oils first. The truth is, oil was never seen as cosmetic. It was food for the skin, and that truth still holds. Part 2. Ancient Egypt. Oil as immortality. In Egypt, oil was more than skincare. It was eternal. The desert sun was harsh, the air dry, and the body needed shielding. Egyptians reached for castor oil, moringa oil, and almond oil. Cleopatra herself was said to bathe in sesame and fragrant oils. These oils weren't simply about beauty. They were about preserving youth, softness, and resilience against the desert's bite. But beyond daily use, oils carried a sacred role. Bodies were anointed with oils before burial, believed to protect the soul's journey. Frankincense and myrrh oils, resins of sacred trees, were used in embalming. Oil wasn't just for this life, but for the next. In Egyptian belief, oil was immortality in liquid form. Part 3. India, the science of Abhyanga. Travel east to India, and you'll find oil woven into the very science of life, Ayurveda. Here, oil wasn't just applied for beauty, but for balance. The practice of Abhyanga, or daily self-massage with warm oil, was, and still is, considered medicine. Each oil had a purpose: sesame oil for grounding and warming, coconut oil for cooling and soothing, castor oil for strength and detoxification, mustard oil for stimulating circulation in colder climates. In Ayurveda, the skin is the gateway to the inner body. Oils applied externally were believed to penetrate, nourish organs, calm the nervous system, and even improve digestion. Mothers massaged newborns with oil to strengthen their bones. Brides were anointed with oil before weddings to glow with vitality. Warriors massaged oil before battle for strength and flexibility. And unlike modern creams, these oils were not luxury. They were daily ritual, household wisdom, passed down from grandmother to child. Part 4. Greece and Rome. Oil as culture. In Greece and Rome, oil was civilization itself. Olive oil wasn't just food, it was sacred. It was rubbed on skin before training, before wrestling, before entering the public baths. Athletes would cover themselves in oil, then scrape off dirt and sweat with a strigil, leaving the skin polished, clean, and strengthened. Oil signified status, purity, and culture. Olive oil lamps lit homes and temples, while olive oil on the skin lit the body from within. Romans expanded this practice, bringing perfumed oils into bathhouses. To be anointed with oil was to be part of society. To neglect oil was almost uncivilized. Part 5. China and Japan. Oil as delicacy. In the East, oils carried subtlety and refinement. In ancient China, camellia oil, pressed from the seeds of the tea plant, was used by women to keep their skin luminous and hair smooth. This light, penetrating oil was cherished by geishas in Japan as well, who massaged it into their skin to balance the drying effects of rice powders and elaborate makeup. But unlike the heavy oils of Egypt or India, East Asian oils were delicate, almost invisible. They mirrored the cultural preference for refinement, elegance, and subtle radiance rather than bold sheen. Here, oil was not just protection, it was art. Part 6. Africa. Oil as shield and heritage. In Africa, oil was survival. From the shea nut of West Africa came shea butter, rich, protective, and long-lasting. It shielded skin from the scorching sun and dry winds. Women massaged babies with shea oil, protecting them from cracking and dehydration. In North Africa, argan oil was liquid gold, used not only on skin but in food. Rich in vitamin E, it gave strength, shine, and healing. Oils here were tied to the land. To apply oil was to honor heritage, to remember that the earth provides for the body. Part 7. Native Americas. Oil as nature's language. In the Americas, indigenous tribes turned to animal fats and plant oils, bear grease, sunflower oil, jojoba oil. These weren't vanity. They were protection against cold winds, ritual in ceremonies, and nourishment in survival. For some tribes, oils were sacred offerings, used in purification rites. Oil wasn't separate from life, it was life speaking through nature. Part 8. Why oil before cream? So now we ask, why did every culture use oil before cream? Because creams are new. Creams are products of industry. They require emulsifiers to bind oil and water, preservatives to prevent spoilage, and packaging to extend shelf life. They are inventions of the last few centuries. But oil? Oil is eternal. Press a seed, crush a fruit, and you have skin's oldest companion. No factory needed, no chemistry set. Just earth, plant, and hand. And unlike creams, oils directly mimic the skin's natural sebum. They balance, protect, and heal without interference. They are both the simplest and the most sophisticated answer to skin's needs. Part 9. The return of oil. Today, we live in a world of shelves overflowing with creams, serums, and lotions. Yet, increasingly, people are turning back to oils. Why? Because the body remembers. The skin remembers. We long for simplicity, for authenticity, for the quiet wisdom of our ancestors. We long for something that feels like ritual, not routine. Something that nourishes rather than coats. This is why facial oils, hair oils, and body oils are experiencing a renaissance. Argan, jojoba, rosehip, marula, coconut, sesame, they are not trends. They are echoes of history returning. Part 10. The spiritual dimension. Let us not forget, oil was never just physical. Oil anointed kings, blessed newborns, and healed the sick. Oil carried prayer, intention, and spirit. To apply oil was to honor not just the body, but the soul. To shine was to be whole. And perhaps this is the true reason every culture used oil before cream. Because oil was never cosmetic. Oil was connection to self, to nature, to the divine. So the next time you pour a little oil into your palms, whether it's olive, coconut, or jojoba, remember, you are not just moisturizing. You are carrying forward an unbroken thread of human history. You are doing what Cleopatra did, what Ayurvedic physicians prescribed, what Greek athletes practiced, what African mothers taught, what native elders passed down. You are not just caring for your skin. You are honoring thousands of years of wisdom. And in a world that often forgets its roots, oil reminds us beauty has always been simple, sacred, and timeless. This is why every culture used oil before cream, and why, perhaps, you should too. Until next time, stay radiant, stay rooted, and remember, true beauty shines when it remembers where it came from.